Oh my gosh. What?
Hard question, right?
I hope the people watching this are going, why would you ask that question?
If something doesn't have loud bass in the mix, I have like an internal rage. Like I'll put on a killer performance or whatever, and the first thing that someone said to me or says to me, and it's like related to me being a girl, and I'm kind of like, the words that changed my life, I think, was you put headphones on and you're like, oh my god, I feel like I'm on a journey.
Okay people, it's time for the Cherry Dog Podcast, with special guest, Daisy Pepper.
You got a busy schedule by the sounds of it, so thank you for taking some time away from that.
That's all right. No, I appreciate being here. I like it.
What's currently the big project on the go at the moment?
What can I say? Well, I'm going to New York in March to go pick up a lovely custom bass that I'm building with Spectre.
Oh, nice.
It's going to be very me. I'm super excited for it because it's very Daisy Pepper. It's literally it's my bass. It's everything. You know, I've got a couple custom Spectres, but I didn't make the specs for them. I bought them as they are. So it's kind of not they resemble me very well, which is why I bought them. But I wanted to get something that's like literally everything of my entire life put into one giant bass.
How many have you actually got? Like, we can see quite a few in the shot at the moment, but that's obviously not all of them.
It's a lot of guitars, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, you got a good variation.
Yeah, it's about 80.
80? 80?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my god, it must be like
you just can't see them all.
Ceiling.
They're like all along here as well, like behind where you can't see. Nearing 80, I'm pretty sure. To be honest, I stopped counting. So the last time I counted was around 70.
What, did you just lose count after 60 odd?
Kind of just do. Like it definitely got to 60 and I was like, yeah, I've hit 60. Cool. I'll stop now. I didn't stop. It got worse. Yeah, I think, do you know what the worst bit was lockdowns? It's like you're stuck inside and you got nothing better to do, and everyone was living on the internet, right? And I'm living on the internet looking at bass selling sites and reverb and all that, and you just get
suckered into it
hole.
too easy.
Yeah, and you kind of like think, oh, I'll buy this one off and I'll buy that, and then you go, I'll stop now. And I think at the start of lockdown I might have had in my 20s.
So you only had about 20 in lockdown and now you're up to 80.
I honestly think so, unless it might be 20 or 30, but yeah, it definitely increased significantly. I think I found like the actual passion for collecting throughout that time anyway. Like I collected a lot of more valuable guitars, like that Paisley one there. It's like a full-on master built Fender by Del Wilson and everything, and it's amazing. I love that guitar, but everything began to get a lot more collector's worthy, so I found a passion for that, I think, over that time, which is why this kind of happened. There's a wall behind me.
Yeah, Kurt's little guitar collection is somewhere in the background here. There's not too many compared to yours, but
mine looked like that. Mine looked like that. This room, like just over there, I had 3 up on the wall, and I was like, yeah, that looks great. Little did I know.
What would you say draws you to a bass or guitar? What is it? Is it the shape, the colours, or
a bit of everything, to be honest? I mean, as you can see, I've kind of got some cool coloured stuff. I like sparkle. I like things shiny. I sound like what are those birds that really like sort of shiny things?
They're magpies, yeah, I think.
Magpies, yeah. So yeah, I sound like a magpie. I'm like, ooh, shiny. Yeah, I quite like sort of sparkle, just outrageous colours, different. Some of my basses have lights on them. And just anything that's a bit different. Obviously, I like
the usual.
Yeah, like I've got the Strats, but they're still like that looks like a normal sunburst. It's not, it's sparkly sunburst. So even when I go for the original classics, they're still really cool. So yeah, I just kind of go for things that are different, I guess, not your normal Strats or Tellys or anything. I quite like the bold look. I like to stand out when I'm gigging and performing and everything, so it makes sense to have a bit of gold paisley or a sparkly sir.
Yeah, I mean, when we started talking about discussing t-shirts together to do a collab and stuff, you actually mentioned something like, "Oh, it'd be great to have a t-shirt color that I have the same guitar color in." It's just like, oh, okay, what colors have you got in your guitar? Then let's try and do that.
Yeah, it was a case of like, okay, well, which bass do I match the shirt to then?
Yeah,
all of them.
That's a good reason to buy a bass, isn't it?
Yes,
it is. Yeah, because to be fair, that happens a lot. Like when I'm clothes shopping or bass shopping, I'm like, oh my god, this bass would go really nicely with that shirt I own, or this shirt would go perfectly with this Spectre. And like I have that conversation a few too many times, so it gets to a point where you buy stuff for the pure sake of like using it, not just once, but using it for a sole purpose of with just that one instrument. Probably did the same with the shirt, to be honest. I probably saw that red bass and I was like, this would go so perfectly with my red S2. I doubt it. I think I just bought it because I like it, but
fair enough. At least there's some sort of method to the madness by the sounds of it.
Exactly. It's I think it's smart spending personally,
We've got loads of people to speak to, so this will be interesting to see why they say they choose certain things over certain others, because everyone's got their own preference, really. So that'll be fun.
Exactly, and I think just to add on to that, I sort of was speaking about my collection, I think the other day to someone, and I noticed that I don't actually have a tone preference. So, I've got a couple of amps, and I've got obviously a couple of basses. They all have different specs, even if they look different. Some of them are the same or similar tonally, but they'll have different preamps, different pickups, different tonal woods, everything. So majority of the basses and guitars I own are not alike each other, which is why I think I can justify ever so slightly the amount I own. But it's there's never a certain tone I'm after. But with this new bass that I've ordered, the Spectre, I think I went for to find that tone that is normally my go-to, and it might not do everything, but it will definitely do most things that I'm interested in.
Oh, good. Well, obviously when you get that, it'd be great to see obviously the videos that you do using it and stuff. That'd be great to see.
Oh, for sure.
You've obviously got quite a bit of a portfolio in terms of what you have done for bass playing, but for those who obviously don't know, how long have you actually been playing bass for?
Okay, so I've been playing for about 7 years now, I think, maybe just over.
Yeah, and where did that all start then?
Well, when I was 14, I think, I've always been very into music. I've always been into music when I was such a young kid. And I used to play trumpet before that, piano, and just, your sort of classical instruments here and there. But then I picked up acoustic guitar and ukulele sort of at the same time, around when I was 12 or 13. And I was getting really into guitar again, only acoustic though. And I might have bought an electric, but I definitely wasn't confident on it whatsoever. I was just playing. In fact, I was actually playing ukulele chords on an acoustic guitar because I was very good at ukulele, but I wasn't so good at the whole big open chords thing. So I would put, I think, the capo on the what was it, the 12th fret or something, the 10th fret, and play ukulele chords up there. Ridiculous. Looking back, I don't know why I did that. But then I started to get more interested again into my rock music and everything, as I always was, but I got really into it. And at my old secondary school, a club was started up called Bass Club, I think, or just somewhere that you could learn bass. Because the teacher at the time, he was a bassist, or he played bass, and I think he was trying to get more people interested in it. And I went to an all-girls school, so that was quite cool, to his initiative to get more girls interested in bass specifically. And I joined it, and the words that changed my life, I think, he was like, you are a natural bassist, you are picking things up super quickly, the technique and everything. And I literally that day I went home to my parents and I was like, we're going to buy a bass. We're going to go and get one. Because I was practicing literally the bass notes on my acoustic guitar, which obviously it just doesn't work. It's just not good. And I went home and I bought an Ibanez SR series, a really nice blue one. And I loved that bass. I haven't got it anymore, but yeah, that was sort of how it started. It was a couple of words that really changed my life, and I started quite late. But yeah, I started at 14 and I'm now 21 and that's not my full-time job. How weird is that?
To be fair, that's good to hear, isn't it? Really, because if people don't know and they're thinking, you know, do I want to pick up a guitar or a bass at or whatever age it is, then yeah. Would you say that like from guitar and bass, do they cross over quite well? So if you can play, say, the bass, is it something you could pick up on guitar as well? Like, can you cross over if you learn one or the other?
I think so. I mean, that's kind of how it started with me. Is I, started to do bass more, and then that then got me more into guitar and learning guitar. I was obviously a massive Muse fan, and I was learning Muse bass lines at the same time as Muse guitar pieces, and I had all the tab books that have bass and guitar. And I think they're not similar whatsoever. Being a bassist that also plays guitar, it's like they are so different. And I definitely play guitar like a bassist. Like, some people say like guitarists play bass like a guitar. It's literally exactly that. But they're so different in technique. However, there are, rhythmic aspects that can really help you with guitar. I think it's massively helped with my timing and just fret knowledge, theory knowledge, kind of understanding the purpose of different instruments as well. In bands, that's massively helpful. If you play multiple instruments and you join a band, you can kind of understand everything around you a bit
things
more.
are going with it.
Yeah, and like if you hear someone playing something that just doesn't fit, you can almost diagnose the problem like straight away rather than going, something's wrong, don't know what it is. You're on your own. You can kind of suggest things.
Enough experience, you can sort of depict what needs to go up or down, who needs to play like a bit quicker tempo and stuff. That's good. In talking about bands, you've mentioned one or two little names or bands or people that you may have like listened to. You mentioned Muse just then as well. Do you have specifically like a particular favorite of style or genre or type or cover a particular type of music, like preferably, or do you just try and like cover a wide variety? Because you've covered quite a few different genres on your Instagram and TikTok. So
yeah, that's right. I try and cover a wider variety. I think as a session musician, you have to be open-minded. You have to be ready to combat anything. Yeah, and just kind of go, yep, I can do that. Even if you can't, you kind of have to just learn it quickly. But yeah, I'm mainly into rock and metal. That's always been what I've been into. Like literally when I was 4 or 5, I was listening to Metallica.
Learning
like,
young.
Yeah, exactly. And like if you like Metallica and stuff like that when you're that young, you know that's your preference. Like that's what I mostly listen to, as long as it's got a really good bass line, a guitar in it, some really great drums. I'm there for it. Which obviously doesn't limit to just rock, but yeah, I really enjoy pretty much most genres. I can be critical of certain songs when they come out. I think just from the inner musician in me kind of like is like, oh, they could have done this or anything. So I guess the downside of being a full-time musician is you can't enjoy music as much as you used to. Everything's too critical.
Yeah, that's it, I suppose, because it becomes less of like, because like I say normal people, non-musicians will probably listen to a song for the first time and they'll go, oh my God, it was amazing. But you may hear it and go, I would have done it a bit differently, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and it's
I would
like
have changed this a little bit.
Yeah, you can hear things as well, like in mixes. If something doesn't have loud bass in the mix, I have like an internal rage. Like I get so mad because I can feel the frustration, and I also don't understand it because like if that happened to me, like if I recorded bass for something and it was completely buried in the mix, I'd be gutted because I'd be like, I spent time in the studio doing that. I'd say something before it was released, probably, because I'd be like, I just from this person that actually played it, it'd be cool if I could hear myself play on the track. But
yeah.
But yeah, like sometimes you just hear things that you're like, I prefer if it was like this, but most of the time I actually have an appreciation for a good song. Like it's something I hear, like you put headphones on and you're like, oh my God, I feel like I'm on a journey.
Who you currently listening to? Who's like your go-to, like who's on your shuffle playlist right now? Like is there a new album that came out or anything that you're currently quite hot on?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I'm really liking Paramore's new stuff.
Okay.
Always quite like Paramore. Do you know what? I've got Don Broco on repeat at the moment.
Yeah.
Their bassist is mental good and writes sick bass lines. You can hear them in the songs. Again, like I was saying, like you can hear the tone. He plays Spectre as well. So it's like I can hear, I'm like, yep, I know that bass tone. Yumi at 6, I've always had them kind of on repeat. They've got a new album coming out and their singles have been top notch as always.
Yep.
Muse's new album, obviously I've had that kind of going on repeat. Yeah, I'm always going back to Deftones too. Deftones are one of my favorite bands of all time. They sort of like, I wish I'd write their music. Like a band that like you wish you'd actually like that was your music, it's them. Like I really wish I would. So yeah, those kind of the bands I'm listening to.
It's funny you mentioned that because one of our other questions we was going to ask you is kind of similar to that. It was going to be what band or musician or artist would you most likely want to play on stage with? But you've kind of mentioned about 5 bands there, so that's a tough one. Out of those, then, who would you want to be the bassist of?
Yeah, I mean, oh man, see, that's a tough question because out of all those bands I've mentioned, they all have fantastic bass lines, which is probably why I like them so much. So logically, the right answer is Muse because they're a 3-piece and their songs are so bass heavy and you get limelight. Most of the time, you know, if a song has got a bass break, if it's a bigger band, you're less likely to want to, you know, get involved with standing out center stage. You kind of just have your moment in the back. But with Muse, every time I've seen them live, Chris is like front center stage, just owning Hysteria and everything, and like I'm like, I want to do that. Like I want to have like my moment of just like an iconic start. Even Matt Bellamy, he's like, yep, he literally points at him and I'm like, I just want that. So I'd love to have a moment like that, I think, with Muse. But Deftones have like really tasty bass lines. Like when I play along to them, they're just so fitting to the song, and I think I'd really enjoy playing them live. So maybe a mix of the two.
Okay, that's fair
Paramours
enough.
are really fun too, but yeah, probably Muse mainly, but I think Deftones would be an interesting experience as well, to be honest.
Interesting. Okay. Trying to think now. Do you want to ask something?
To be fair, linking on to that, really, I was thinking if you had to, because you said a lot of those bands, but if you had to like pick these artists out individually, like, do you reckon you could build like a super band? Like, if you pick
absolutely.
a bassist, a drummer, guitarist, and a singer.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's a great question. So I'm like creating a super band. I'm not in it, am I?
Well, if you want to be,
in it. If you think you're the best bass player for the band, then
no, I think it'd be interesting to hear the stir up of genres, I think. So I'll leave myself out for it now. But if I chucked maybe Don Broco's bassist on bass.
Okay.
I'm really bad with names, which is why I'm not naming anyone, because I can guarantee, like, even if I try, I will get a name wrong. So I'll avoid that.
We'll Google it and in post edit we'll put like a list of names here or something.
Good idea. Yeah, so I think Don Broco's bassist, because he's just got like the most fantastic bass licks I think I've ever heard. It's just so good. Chuck him on bass. Stephen Carpenter from Deftones on guitar.
Yep.
He is just iconic. I've literally got his signature guitars behind me. Like I look up to him massively. So that's bass and guitar. Singing, Hayley Williams.
Oh, very nice.
Okay.
Yeah, get some of that on lead. And drums. Almost missed drums then. Oh my god, who would I pick on drums? They all have fantastic drummers though, that's the question. Oh my gosh. I was gonna say Deftones drummer, but I've already picked their guitarist, so I don't want it to be too Deftones heavy. Okay, I'll go with Muse's drummer. Let's go with Muse's drummer. I think that'll be like an interesting combination.
It'd be interesting to hear what they could put together. Yeah,
could make it an even more difficult question. You could say who's your lead guitarist and who's your rhythm guitarist.
Okay, so Steph on lead for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so who's your lead? Who's doing them solos?
Oh, I don't think Steph would do the solos. I think he I think he writes the best rhythmic parts. That's what I really love about Deftones, is like they don't really have lead parts in their songs. He's the one guitarist, and the lead parts he writes are very rhythm heavy, which is why I love what he plays. So I think I'll stick with Steph Carpenter on the rhythm guitar. And who else?
I know who your lead guitarist would be.
My lead guitarist
your lead guitarist would be Slash, I think.
It would be Slash.
Do you know what I was literally just about to say? I was like, do you know what?
No, you can't
Slash
pick. He's already taken. He's already taken.
mine.
You can't pick him now.
I was just gonna go, yeah, chuck him in for the bands. That'd be hilarious. Oh, who else?
You can say Slash if you want to.
No, I'll that's just really
There's
random.
something about Slash, though, isn't it? Like, it's hard to say he's the world's best guitarist, but it's something about his own tone, isn't it?
There's something about
his... recreate what he does.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, how about Joe Bonamassa?
Oh, interesting. Oh, that was a curveball. I didn't expect that, to be honest. I've been to see him live. He's insanely talented. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I'd love to see him live one day. That'd be so sick. I reckon he's great.
Well, that's one hell of a super group. We'll have to make like a little Photoshop picture of all them together on stage or something. Maybe we can try, like, without any budget, we can try and organise that to do a gig as a charity night.
Yeah, shove them in a room and see what songs they can write.
Yeah, as long as you're the agent and you figure it all out, and we'll just do some video about it. Yeah, that'll be sound.
Perfect. Yeah.
To be fair, we've got a couple of fun questions here.
Yeah,
as well.
I kind of like that one you're hovering over now.
That one
actually,
yeah.
Okay, go for it.
You wanna shoot?
Okay then. Well, I think you've mentioned about going to this Download Festival. You going to that this year?
I will not be going this year. I did go last year though. But I will not be going this year, just on the basis of, one, I've got my fingers crossed that I'll be playing it this year.
Okay.
So probably won't happen, but it's I'd love to just like randomly be chosen as a session bassist to play on stage there. But also I'm trying to not book too many gigs, because I had to turn down quite a few gigs last year because of Download Festival.
Oh no.
So I was there all weekend, and it was like I didn't realize that it was every other gig that I got booked was gonna fall on that weekend. So I'm trying to be a bit smarter.
Let's I want to come back to that then, because the thought of playing a Download Festival was really big, to be fair. So I want to come back to that question.
Okay.
Mentioned about playing a Download Festival, but before that, we've got Download Festival is 4 headliners this year. What would be, now this is a horrible question because you'll probably be thinking, oh God, but who's your 4 headliners and why?
Oh my God. Wow. How do I answer that?
Now, you don't have to worry about trying to make it for the mass audience and making everyone happy. This is Daisy's Download Festival. Who are your 4 headliners?
Okay, cool. So, right. Well, I saw Deftones there last year. So that kind of already came true. So that's kind of hard to, but I think I'll add them again. So I'm going to say Deftones.
Deftones, what are they, opening headline for the Thursday?
Yeah, go on.
Okay.
Start with Deftones. Muse have released a heavier album, and I reckon they've got enough heavier songs that you could easily chuck them at a Download Festival and they would like totally metal it up,
Okay. They did headline a few years back, I think, didn't they?
They did. Yeah. So, it's not impossible.
Okay. So Deftones and Muse, that's it so far.
Yeah, I'm going to go for it. They're not already there this year, so that's already happening. So I'm not going to say that. That's just
okay.
It's just already a thing. Who else is there? I've gone blank for bands, like metal bands.
You can pick some of the classics. You say Metallica.
True, but Metallica are also there this year, so I'm kind of like, maybe not. And Megadeth did last year. Huh. That's a tough question.
Sounds like you need
4 days.
I think you need some prep time for this, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't realize. Yeah, next time I say to not check the questions beforehand, ignore me. I definitely need the prep time. Though knowing me, I'd still forget.
But so far you've said you want Deftones and Muse there, so you got 2 others. Who would you have to close the event? Closing the festival is obviously a massive deal. So I mean, who's done it in the past? Was it last year? Might My God, I can't even remember who was there last year.
It
Now
was
Ozzy
Maiden and
Osbourne was one
Kiss.
of them, but that was the one we went to a couple of years back.
Iron Maiden and Kiss were last year.
Kiss, that was
and
it.
Biffy Clyro were last.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I've gone like completely blank for metal bands. I listen to metal. It's not great, is it?
What about if we ring some up and you say yes or no then?
True, yeah, good idea.
So Slipknot, Metallica, you've already said no because they're playing this year, so that's kind of like disregard them. Korn, System of a Down.
Oh, System of a Down. There you go. So Korn were last year, so I've already seen that.
Okay.
So yeah, System of a Down, I think get them in there. That'd
System
be
of a Down as a closing act.
Yeah, I think that would be like the perfect note to end on. Yeah.
I think you need a dad band in there as well.
For sure. Limp Bizkit, go on.
Limp Bizkit is a dad band. Oh my God.
Didn't he release like a whole
vibes.
Song called Dad Vibes?
There you go. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay, well that sounds good. So you got Deftones,
Muse,
Deftones, Muse, Limp Bizkit, and System.
Yeah.
That ain't
sounds
bad,
good.
to be honest.
the Daisy download.
I don't think that's too bad at all, to be honest with you.
I'd go to that.
We were just talking about Download Festival, right? So you mentioned that you could be playing there this year, or you are playing this year. What's going on with that? Or can you tell us anything?
I have no idea if I'm playing this year. I'm trying to manifest that I get a booking there. I'm not sure for what yet. But yeah, I'm just sort of like hoping that something kind of comes to fruition and I get a really great opportunity to come through. So if that does, that'd be amazing. Or even just like something like Reading, that'd be awesome. I've just always wanted to play, bigger festivals, big venues. So I'm hoping that it's the new year and 2023 will be that year for me where I can finally play at like a massive festival. Yeah, I'm just fingers crossed it's a great summer, really.
Well, hopefully you get something like that.
Would that be your dream gig? Download then, main stage, headline, or is there somewhere else you'd think is the peak venue?
Honestly, I think Download might be it, or even just playing like a festival in America. I think I don't really know any specifics, or maybe like Rock AM Ring, that'd be really cool as well. But yeah, I think that'd be just really great playing Download, especially as I went there for the first time last year and I got to experience the energy and the sunburn and everything.
No escape.
It was awful. But yeah, it was just a different experience, and I couldn't help but the whole time think like I'm going to be stood on that stage one day looking out at the crowd rather than being in the crowd looking at the stage. And it just looks like so much fun. Like, you see the videos of people playing at it and like seeing that many people and just playing the music you enjoy. It just looks so good. So
100,000 people in front of you.
God, I could not imagine doing that.
Screaming your name.
Exactly that. Like, especially being in the crowd for it, and you think like, I am this person, but now maybe next year or the year after I will be the person on stage. It's a cool thing to think about, and it's definitely a goal. Definitely. So I'm fingers crossed it happens.
Have you got like a favorite city or anything, or a favorite venue that you've ever played before?
Oh, that's a great question. You know what? I played last year. I played at the Cluny in Newcastle. And
the Cluny,
yeah, CLUNY, and just the vibe of it, the hospitality, the actual venue itself, the quality, the sound quality, the people, it was just a really great vibe. I played there with Laura Evans, and it was a really great gig, and yeah, like I said, the vibe of it was just so nice, and yeah, like the hospitality there was great, a nice green room, and the stage was like plenty big but not too big, and the crowd was really nice and welcoming. Yeah, I'm actually doing it. I'm actually doing a gig there again in February. I completely forgot.
Amazing. That just sounds like a perfect little advertisement for you there, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm playing this.
Clooney, get sponsoring Daisy Pepper.
I know. Top of recommendation from me. Yeah, I mean, I did do a gig in Germany last year, and I'm going to be really bad and not remember the location that the gig was in, which is great.
You've gigged in
at a
Germany.
great
Just leave it at that. You've gigged in
It was
Germany.
it was just in Germany. I flew to Hanover Airport. There you go. And it was like one of the hottest days of the year for Germany, which is hotter, and literally like just sweating, but like it was absolutely crazy. But the festival itself was really good. It was in front of thousands of people, and like everyone just loved music there. And yeah, that was a genuinely great gig too. But I think the Clooney, like, that was a really great gig. It was like one of those ones I didn't play a bum note at all. Everything went smoothly. Had a nice bass with me. Got some really great gig photos too. You know, it's a good gig when you get some really great photos from it.
Yeah,
because like you can just feel the vibe through the photos, and you're like, yeah, I'm feeling that. Yeah, I think that might be my favorite venue.
There's something about certain venues, isn't there, really? Because I mean, you know, we've been to like, you know, the bigger places like NEC and
your
in
stadiums
Nottingham.
Yeah.
But I think one of our favourite venues is the O2 Academy in Birmingham. It's not too big. It feels more intimate with the band. There's just something about like a certain venue, isn't it? They're just
it's not all about the big
good.
stages. It's about the overall feeling of the entire venue. You know, the smaller venues might have better hospitality than the bigger venues. I wouldn't know, but yeah, I think that's
and you're more likely to grab a drumstick or a pick in the crowd. So
exactly. I've got to throw it far, have you?
I think you've always managed to get more stuff at gigs than me.
I'm straight in there.
Yeah, you are. You've got a bit more of like a
swan dive into the crowd.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Like we went to the Volbeat concert a few weeks back in Nottingham. So this was just before Christmas now, and we managed to get into the Parasite pit, which is that small little stage at the very front. Don't know how it happened. God. It just happened. So we were just like, thank you whoever did that for us.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they got to the last song, they were just like, they start like getting all the things out of the microphone stand. It's like, right, here we go. Merch is coming.
Sleeves are out.
Yeah. He's there throwing all the stuff out. Me and another guy like trying to find Neil, putting our hands up, and then we turn around, and then Kurt's just got 2 picks. It's just like, how the fuck did you do that?
I couldn't do that. I'm tiny, so I'm like, I just get trampled on.
Oh, it's worth it.
I'll take your word for it. I always avoid those things just for that reason.
Right, you've mentioned some really fun kind of like artists and bands that you really like, but I'm going to give you a terrible question now. You're only allowed to keep one of these bands, Muse or Deftones. Which one and why?
One's got to go. Come on.
It's got to go. Oh my gosh.
You didn't see that coming then, did you?
No, that's oh my god, terrible question, guys. Terrible question. I've got to keep Muse. I have to. They have too much. Yeah, it's too much sentimental value there, and like I've based my career is like, you know, I owe a massive amount to Muse because my cover of Hysteria is how it happened. So I kind of have to got to honor that. I think
that's fair enough.
By Deftones,
yeah.
Yeah, it's a reluctance.
They can still be part of the super band, but they're not in the playlist anymore.
No.
Yeah. Oh god, that's horrible. Oh no, that's a sad day for my playlists.
We've got some more hard questions for you now.
Oh wow.
If you had to bring one of these artists back, who would you bring back? Would you bring back Chris Cornell, Kurt Cobain, or Chester Bennington?
Oh my gosh. What?
Hard question, right?
I hope the people watching this are going, why would you ask that question? I can't pick out of them 3 because I personally
you guys are getting cancelled.
After one episode, we're done.
Oh my gosh, that is tough. I won't bring back. Oh my god, no. That's thing is they're all. Oh my gosh, that's a really tough question. How do I even? I mean, the one that hit me the hardest. Was I alive when Kurt Cobain died? No. So that one didn't hit me hard particularly, although it's gutting, but it's like it didn't, you know, personally affect me. I cried when Chester Bennington died. And I cried a little bit when Chris Cornell died, but not as much as Chester, only because I had seen Linkin Park literally 2 weeks before he died.
Oh, no way.
Oh,
Yeah. So I was like I just couldn't even
massive
wrap my
shock.
head around it. Yeah, I was like, I've literally just seen you live in concert 2 weeks ago at the O2. Like, what the heck? So I think I'm gonna have to say Chester Bennington.
I mean, he is like a talisman of that era.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to be honest.
and
So
like, you know, he was the leader of Linkin Park, or like, you know, the front
man,
I
yeah.
think. And it's sad that they're not still, you know, making music because of it. And, you know, obviously Dave Grohl has gone on to have like this mental career anyway. So I think if Kurt was brought back, I don't think, you know, musically anything would happen.
That's a good breakdown, that is.
Foo Fighters wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like I'm thinking from a point of view of like, you know, Chris Cornell had like an amazing solo career. So I'm just gonna have to go Chester Bennington for the sake of impact on bandmates and legacy, if you will.
Industry.
That's a great answer.
That is,
answer.
I did not expect that much of a thought out answer, to be honest with you, because I just
My
thought
brain was
most
like,
most people would probably just be like, "Oh, I don't know, no, this guy probably." But you've given us like an essay. That's really good.
I was like, there has to be a reason. I can't just go eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You know, I gotta think about it. As much as I'd love Kurt Cobain back, you know, and everything.
Good answer. Okay then. Right, I've got another question for you now. Then,
I'm scared.
With regards to the industry, so obviously this is coming from your point of view, not a fan, but coming from a point of view as a musician, someone who plays to live audiences, someone who records stuff, who appreciates music technically, blah, blah, blah. If there's something about the music industry you could change, what would it be and why?
Oh, where do I start? Do you know what? This is a very wide question because there's a lot of stuff you see wrong. Obviously, streaming services are just not great for when it comes to supporting the artists. You know, paying wise. Copyright honestly ruins my life. So, you know, get rid of that.
Do you just explain that for those who probably don't know what you're on about? Obviously, I think we've had this conversation on a previous video call anyway, but do you want to just explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, so I do a lot of covers. It's like the main thing I do really, because I appreciate music and I like to play bass lines and everything from, you know, that already exist, and sharing it with like-minded people. People appreciate it, and it introduces people to new bands. You know, I get comments every day that are like, you know, you've introduced me to this band. I wouldn't know they existed if it wasn't for you, and stuff like that. But unfortunately, some covers don't meet the internet at all because they get blocked immediately from copyright. Some get muted in certain countries, and also I don't earn a penny, and I don't really do it to earn a penny. I don't expect to earn anything off of covers because, you know, it's not my music. But yeah, I think when they get blocked, it's very frustrating because, especially, you know, for example, my Jimi Hendrix covers, you just cannot post really a Jimi Hendrix cover, and I appealed it and I won. Rarely happens, but you know, I'm not complaining. But I think if I hadn't have won, it would have been quite disappointing because obviously Jimi Hendrix no longer here. How are younger generations and younger people, or people that have just never heard of Jimi Hendrix, how are they supposed to hear his music if the only place you can hear it is on an album or on a streaming service or anything, unless you're looking for it, right? So I think that frustrates me a lot. Like it's this really stupid rule of blocking things, and it's not just Jimi Hendrix. You know, AC/DC do it. Led Zeppelin is a culprit of it. It's not the bands, it's the labels. They're greedy, and it's all greed based, and it's not just money. Like the labels could have it up. I don't mind if they claim it. Take every penny. I don't mind, but you know, blocking it, you don't even earn anything. So you know, you might as well, yeah.
Because surely the label will get more benefit out of someone that's got an influence to do a cover of a song from their band that's in their label Like, if you're not earning profit off it, well, I don't really see what the problem is, because they're just getting exposure for this song.
It's like you said, isn't it? Yeah. So someone who's never heard of it. Oh, I like this song. What's this? Oh, let's.
Yeah, you look into them. Oh, this is the band. Oh, this is their merch. Oh, they've got a tour. Like, surely that's going to be something good, hasn't it?
You're spot on. It's like, you know, the amount of times I've even watched someone's cover of something and I've gone, this song's great, I'm gonna go listen to it. And like, it's like that for a lot of people, but you can't do that if the cover never exists or it gets taken down. You know, I've had covers be up for years and get blocked now. And I'm like, it's literally been
so they've been online for 2 years, and then suddenly, oh, hang on, you're not allowed this on there.
Yeah, and it's like, what's the problem? And I literally appeal it, and I'm like, this is incredibly unfair. Like, I haven't earned a penny off of it, and now you guys can't because you've taken it off. And they've put it back up straight away because they're like, oh yeah, so sorry. And I'm like, yeah, why? It's just aggravation. And you know, you risk getting your channel taken down for repealing stuff. But I'm like, I'm gonna stand up because I know I'm right.
Stand your ground.
I'm standing my ground, yeah.
I feel like this is where in the post edit we put like a Rage Against the Machine song in there, like "Fuck the Man" or something. Stand up for
you know what? Yeah, you're right. Except Rage Against the Machine songs also get very much blocked. So,
oh, do they? Oh my god.
Yeah,
I wonder why.
It's just so ironic, isn't it? Like, even songs that are talking about, like, you know, screw the system and everything, and like, and I can't even post it to talk about, you know, like, yeah, it's really stupid. So that's just one issue out of many, but I probably
that's
change
a bit more. Yeah, that's a bit more from like a creative point of view as well, isn't it? Really.
But like, the main other thing is the misogyny. Get rid of it, bin it. It's so old. I'm so fed up of it. I've only been in the industry for like, it was my second year now, like properly, and I can't believe like some of the remarks I get after gigs, some of the comments I get on videos, some of the comments I see on other people's videos, the DMs I get, like, and just passing things like at festivals, like the attitude towards you, and so like it's very deep rooted.
Just to sort of explain that a little bit more, to elaborate on it. So is that comments made about you being on stage as a bass player or something? So what's obviously, if you don't want to get personal, you don't have to. But like, what's some of the comments that you've sort of got in this regard?
Well, it's I haven't got like an exact comment that sort of pops out of my head, but it's kind of like, how do I explain it? It's when you get a comment that is very much talking about, it's like putting your gender first. Like, I'll put on a killer performance or whatever, and the first thing that someone says to me, and it's like related to me being a girl, and I'm kind of like, it's just not necessary in the conversation anymore. Like, you know, and it's sometimes they're not even harmful comments, to be honest, and it could just be me being very sensitive, like, you know, someone saying, oh, you know, there's not a lot of female bassists, so it's great that you're doing it. And I'm kind of like, actually there is, it's just you might not,
you personally don't know them.
And it's like some people are literally like, I haven't seen a female bassist in 20 years, and I'm like, where have you been? Like, I'm not the first to occur in the past 20 years, and like, I sort of almost feel bad because I almost want to shout names at them and be like, no, this person exists, you know, all like people saying all female bands. I'm like, well, no, it's just a band, really, isn't it?
That's so true.
You don't have to say all male band.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What's your favourite all male band? What you mean, just a band?
Yeah.
What's your favourite female band? You mean just a band?
Yeah, like, you shouldn't have to categorize it as like two different things. We are just bands. Like, you know, if you say what's your top 3 bands and it's only bands that have all male in, that isn't misogynistic. But it's when people assume that question is asking what your favorite all male bands is, and it's like, so if I was to say, okay, well, what's your all female bands, and I'm like, well, I was involving them in the original question. They're not in my top 3 or whatever. But yeah, I just see a lot of like, even just my comments, like I can upload a video of like not a very complicated bass line, and people say things similar to, you know, she's only getting views because she's a girl. I mean, it's all, you know, it's all about how you look and everything, and I'm just like, I don't know. I work pretty hard.
Really, of course, yeah.
It's very degrading, and like, they just talk down to you, and I'm like, I'm just so fed up of hearing it and seeing it in my comments and getting it after gigs. and being compared as well. There's always a comparison. Even at a gig I've done before, I've literally just walked off stage, and even the next band after me had another woman on bass, and they're sort of going like, oh, great performance, you should check out this woman, though, she's amazing, like, you know. And I'm kind of like, okay, well, I was going to watch her anyway, but, you know, and I don't ever really get that when it's another guy going up afterwards. It's always like, I just feel like they're constantly being compared. Or like, you know, you should like check out what she's doing, she's really great, I think you could learn a thing or two. And I'm like, thanks, just come off stage.
So it's kind of just getting to the point now where you're overhearing a lot of the same phrases, and you're just a bit like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's like the intentions. It's like, even if people don't realize it's in what they say, I can just tell it's there. And like, I've heard things before, and you get so used to it. Like another one I got told was, I came fresh off stage again, and someone said you should be more adventurous with your playing. Well, I think they said, great performance, but can I give some constructive criticism? I think you should be more adventurous with your playing. And I was kind of like, who are you? It's a session gig, you know. I turn up to session gigs and I do what I'm told, basically. I play what I've been taught to play, I play what I've been approved to play, I don't overplay. And when someone comes up to you to try and tell you how to do your job, is essentially what they were trying to do. And you're kind of like, why do you think you can come up and do that? And I'll go over to the other bandmates who are guys and be like, yeah, great guys, you were great. And like, not say a single thing. Give them constructive criticism.
Yeah. Especially if it's constructive criticism from someone who doesn't play bass as well.
Yeah, exactly. I don't actually know if he played bass or not. I don't know. It was an old man. Like...
that could just be that is just as good as watching the football on a Sunday and telling, oh, if I was the manager, I would do this. It's like, well, you're not, though, are you?
Well, you're not, though, are you?
If I was on stage, I'd play it this way. Well, go on then. Get up there and show me how it's done then.
Here's my bass, have a go on. Yeah, it's just silly little things, to be honest. And I think it just needs to be taught a bit better, like about how comments matter and attitudes matter, microaggressions and just little things. It's just very much still present in the industry.
Yeah. Do you think it's slightly changing though? It's getting better slowly, like year by year sort of thing.
Yeah,
or even that's wrong to say that, year by year, because that's a long time anyway, really.
I know. I think it is changing in the fact that we're standing up for it more. Like before, I just delete comments and whatnot, but now I actually find myself, if it's a genuine person, like with a profile picture that's clearly got it wrong, I'll say like, look, what you're saying is just not correct. Like it's just not okay. Because I think if you don't correct it and you don't stand up for yourself, you're just enabling it to happen, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, even I'm in a couple of fan groups for bands, and the other day someone said, you know, it'd be really great, random conversation obviously, but it'd be really great to see Foo Fighters get a chick drummer in. And I was like, yeah, cool. I mean, I don't think it matters who they get in. It could be guy or girl. I don't really care. But some of the comments are like, just no, it should be a guy. And everyone's like, why? And they're like, it's just a male band. It's just obviously a male band, and just making, you know, it would just look really silly if a woman was in it. And also someone said like, along the lines of, the other members would have to change how they play to have the girl keep up with them.
What?
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And like change how they talk to each other, change how they talk to the crowd, because they would
talk to the crowd.
Yeah, like how it would apparently change like how they want to portray themselves just because a woman's there. And I was like, reading those comments, I was very disappointed, because I was like, I'm a woman that plays bass, and like if I get signed up to a gig and I find out that, you know, someone's thinking that while I'm standing on stage or anything, that's really disappointing to hear. And I put in the comments, I was like, you know, some of these comments are really disappointing, because especially to read as a musician, you know, it's supposed to be an equal space, it's supposed to be an acceptive space, and those comments were just fresh out of the old days. Like,
yeah,
who are these people? Why are you saying this on the internet? They were saying it so, like, they were saying it with their chest. And I was like, I don't think Dave Grohl would be very happy to hear those comments, considering he's got daughters himself that are musicians. I don't know where they've got that idea that, you know, Foo Fighters are an all-male band, but I don't know who declared that.
Yeah.
But
It's weird, isn't it? Because you've never listened to music and thought, oh, you know what? Oh, that's a female bass player. That
Definitely
is. That
female.
sounds
Yeah,
female.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Those drums are
it.
definitely like those drumsticks are definitely being played by a female. I can tell.
Yeah, and they were they were sort of saying it in that way of like you'd be able to tell. I was like, I don't think you would, but
no. I mean, being in a band is really like ultimately it is a full package. Like there is the music, the onstage presence, the branding, how they're gonna look, their interviews. That's a full package. But the whole focus of being in a band is the music and what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's never about how you look or how you present yourself. It's just about the music, and it was weird seeing people make it to be about anything else but the music. And
like
I
Lizzie
said,
Hale, for example, like Hailstorm, one of the really, really good band. Like they've been playing a long time now, and the front singer is obviously Lizzie Hale, but also she's got an incredible fucking like guitar playing technique.
For sure,
no one
she's
would
incredible.
ever like if she wasn't the singer or the front person of the band. Would anyone sort of like mention about it's a female like guitarist or whatever? Another one of my favorite drummers is Jen Ledger from Skillet.
Yeah,
she's an incredible drummer, and also I can't remember whether she plays the bass or the guitar, but I can't remember her name now. The other girl that's in the band, she plays guitar or bass or whatever, and then the other two males, they play the other instruments, but that's 2 women and 2 men, and they sound fucking incredible.
Yeah, exactly.
As anything should be. Like it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman playing the drums or you're singing, or like singing, you can kind of say there's a bit of a difference there because obviously certain vocals and but in terms of instruments, it doesn't matter who you are really, I suppose. As long as you can play the notes properly and keep in time, then who cares?
Exactly. You're so spot on. I'd love to see, I don't know if it already exists maybe, but an experiment to like, you get a group of say 100 people just to listen to a couple songs and get all sorts of people playing different instruments and see if they can actually tell. I'd love to I feel like that experiment in itself would wipe out a lot of unnecessary hate and just for no reason. Like I said, the comments were just so unnecessary, and like if you have an opinion of something that's just not very nice, just don't say it. Like you just don't have to sit there and spread your negative vibes on someone that was like, oh, I'd love to see a Foo Fighters get a girl drummer in. Like that's such an innocent comment, and it would be cool. I think even some guys would agree like that'd be sick to see. And like I said, I don't care who they get in as long as they are great and they fit the job. Obviously no one can replace Taylor Hawkins, let's be honest. So they've already got big shoes to fill, guy or girl, so it doesn't matter. But it's just a shame that people had to start that argument to create a problem that's not even there.
Very thought out. I understand exactly where you're coming from. I think a lot of other people will as well, to be honest.
I think just in the industry it just needs a lot of change, a lot of reshuffling, and just more people to talk about it. I'm open to have the conversation about it because I experience it, but also I think it's important to just talk about it with others, get their opinions so they can spread the word and sort of little by little just combat it and get rid of it.
Let's make the change.
Yeah, exactly.
We're coming to the close of the interview. So
sick.
In terms of, we do have a question that we want to ask you to sort of finish off with, but just in the meantime, before we ask that question, well, I'll let you ask it, but is there anywhere that you can sort of get people to go and follow you, or is there anywhere that you'd like people to sort of, like you've got a website, social, now's the time to sort of say it?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram as Daisy Pepper Bass, YouTubers, Daisy Pepper Bass. My website is www.daisypepperbass.com. Honestly, if you just search up my name, it should come up, as there's not many Daisy Peppers out there that play bass or music at all, to be honest.
One of a kind.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, good.
But it should be everywhere. I'm on, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Patreon. I upload exclusive content to Patreon. It's very exciting over there. I've got exclusive content and a whole community over there, Discord. YouTube, I upload full-length YouTube covers and reviews and demos and all that jazz. I'm just about anywhere and everywhere I can try my best to fit into.
Okay, fair enough. Well, we've got one final question for you now then, so take it away, sir.
You on about the question or the
last final question we've got?
Okay. Well, these are okay. So it's kind of links on to what we were saying earlier, really. You're saying you've been playing for 7 years, since you were 14. So people who are listening again, who've never played before, would love to get into it. What would be your advice, and like, where could they start? So, for example, for me, like, if I like guitar, I mess about with it, but it's hard to know. If I was learning myself, where do you look? Where do you start? Like, would you go to a teacher, or can you do it yourself? Just your advice on that, yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'd recommend getting a teacher. I had a teacher while I was learning, and it's always good to have that one individual you can ask questions to that can guide you through every step of the way. And it's inspiring as well, especially when they're a teacher that is involved in music, and you can see what they're doing and go, I want to do that. And they have connections that if you get really great, then they can hook you up with some stuff. So I always recommend getting a teacher, but if you are just starting and maybe you haven't got the facilities to get a teacher or anything, the one thing I can recommend starting out with bassing on is focusing on technique. Good technique means good playing. It'll sound better, it'll feel better, more comfortable, and you won't hurt yourself. And it means you can learn things a lot quicker, just by having your hands in the correct places. If your thumb's a bit of everywhere, all over the place, it's kind of hard to get the song right. So if you have good technique at first, then you're kind of setting yourself up to play a lot better in the long run and get it just nailed in your head quicker. I think if you start off with really bad technique and then you play songs, you have to unlearn what you've just learned, really. So I kind of always, every time I teach someone, I'm always like, right, first of all, this is how you hold a bass, this is how you sit with a bass, this is how it should look, here's how you put your hands.
Step one.
Yeah.
Step one, let's start like basics.
Step one, get a bass.
Step one, actually have the bass. Otherwise I'll just be playing air bass. But yeah, I think that's it. Get a teacher, get a sort of well-renowned teacher, or someone that has a portfolio that looks rather impressive and can obviously play. And get yourself a great bass. Don't get something too cheap because it will be unplayable. And focus on technique first. And that's sort of my top 3, I guess. Top 3 to go to.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's a good bit of advice. Hopefully people follow it. For the moment, we probably just have to say thank you very much for your time today then, Daisy. You've obviously got a lot of experience in the music industry and especially playing bass. You've done quite a few things in the past and you've got a lot of stuff ahead in the future. So yeah, hopefully we'll be around to see how you get on with everything, especially this year as well. So if you are at Download and you are playing, let us know.
Yeah, of course. I'll be letting everyone know.
Any free festival tickets and merch, feel free to send it over. We'll gladly accept it.
I'll do my absolute best.
All right, Daisy.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much for chatting with us today. And we'll put on all of your socials in the description below, and hopefully people get following you and seeing what you do in the meantime.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, cheers. Thank you there, Daisy.
Thank you.
That was the Cherry Dog Podcast, with special guest, Daisy Pepper. Keep up with Daisy and her music too by following her on socials. Also, be sure to check out the Cherry Dog Apparel range now at www.cherrydogapparel.com. Thanks for listening.